onto the budget now. Do you support, or would you support, a modest rise to JobSeeker, which I understand is coming?
If you're on a low or fixed income, and JobSeeker, we know it's very tough to live on that, the one thing you need is to be able to afford the basics. And with inflation as high as it is and no apparent plan to tackle it, that's the first and best thing this government can do for people on JobSeeker. The other thing I'd like to say, Andrew, having visited many businesses that are looking for workers, desperate for workers, signs on so many cafe windows and small businesses and manufacturing businesses, back yourself. It's never been a better time to get a job. When we were in government, we actually had a program called the PATH, Youth Path program, which mentored people who were long-term unemployed into a business. So it paid the business to give that one-on-one mentoring, and it actually added some more money to the job seekers' fortnightly payment. And I've been into businesses where this worked incredibly well. You just need that little bit of help when you're a long-term unemployed person, and you need to be backed by the business that's actually taking you on. Now, the government cut that program, cut it dead. So, you know, let's look at this from an employment perspective and from a whole of economy perspective, and also for the best outcome of the job seeker.
The government is also, I understand, lifting the age at which single parents can access the pension from when their youngest child is around 8 to around 13 or 14. Will the opposition support that if it occurs?
Well, let's see what the budget contains. You've got lots of intel, you always do, Andrew, so well done. But I haven't seen the detail of that. But the same principle applies, actually. You know, if you're in that position, you are incredibly focused on the cost of living, on what it costs you to do your weekly shopping at the supermarket, on your energy bills, which we know are skyrocketing. And I mean that, skyrocketing for households, your rent and all of those costs. I mean, that's what is hitting low-income households. So it's just so important that the government gets this right. I should note that it's 12 months ago this week that Labor launched its campaign for the 2022 election, and they said they would deliver a comprehensive and targeted plan for a stronger economy and a better society. And Labor would deliver cheaper electricity, cheaper wages and better pay. Now, by any test, Andrew, any test, Labor is failing right, miserably. And that's what we want to see in this budget, the plan.
Right. Well, I think you'll see some cost of living relief, but will you be congratulating the government if Jim Chalmers delivers a surplus on budget night?
We want to see a plan and we want to see the results. We don't just want to see a number. And if indeed there is a surplus, it will be because of the strong economy that the government inherited from us. But a surplus is one thing. We all know it'll be a big spending, big taxing Labor budget. The question is, will it deliver that plan to tackle inflation, which is a separate matter? And will it actually take the tough decisions to reduce debts and deficits over the longer term in order that we actually bring inflation down? And I don't have faith that that will happen, Andrew, because as I said, we all know that when Labor runs out of money, they come after yours, irrespective of how much money they're getting. And this is the problem.
Sussan Ley,
the spending
Sussan Ley,
will...
Sorry, we're nearly out of time, Sussan Ley. I just wanted to ask you about the PRRT changes. What's your reaction to that, what's been announced this morning?
Well, when you intervene in the energy market, you distort that market. So the real question is, will those changes incentivise investment? Will they increase supply? Or will they simply distort the market? And if you do that, you lift inflation even higher in the energy market than it already is. And we know how high it is because we know how fast prices are going up. So we'll always back households, we'll always back businesses when it comes to cheaper energy. But these are the tests. And if you look at the history of this government when it comes to energy prices, they're going up at 25 to 30%. And those are the estimates that the experts are making, Andrew. So it's critical that they get any intervention right, but I don't trust them on that either.
Okay, what can we expect from Peter Dutton's budget reply speech on Thursday night? Will there be some significant policy? Because there's this no elision tag the government's throwing at you, which is starting to stick a bit, I have to say.
Peter Dutton's budget reply will respond to the budget on Tuesday in a way that demonstrates to all Australians that we understand the circumstances they're facing, that we know how much they're hurting from cost of living, and that we are the party that actually has the better plan to fix that. So no plan from the government. I don't expect to see one in the budget, Andrew, because I haven't seen anything to date, and I refer you to all of the broken promises that come from the last election campaign they were in and what we're seeing today. So of course we will have a response to the Australian people that demonstrates how we back them in, how we understand what their lives are like, and how we are committed to their future and their families' future.
You recently went on a 16-day tour of marginal electorates. There are rumours around that you are willing to put your hand up should Peter Dutton continue to falter like he did in Aston. Are you interested in serving the role if it comes to that?
Well, I am doing what a dedicated vice captain should be doing, and that is travelling and visiting the seats that we hold, the seats that we want to win back, the party members that we want to thank for their faith in us over time. And in doing that, Andrew, I am seeing an absolute crisis when it comes to cost of living across this country. So I'm absolutely delighted to be fulfilling that role as the Deputy Leader of the Liberal Party. It's an incredible honour. I take it very seriously, and I'm here serving at the pleasure of our party room.
Absolutely, but could you ever see yourself serving as leader?
I want to be a senior member in a Peter Dutton government after the next election. On the Expenditure Review Committee, doing a much better job than the current Treasurer and Finance Minister. On the National Security Committee, understanding the role Australia plays in the region when it comes to our national security, and delivering for the Australian people a strong agenda from a coalition government.
All right, just finally, you and Peter Dutton recently in Albury said the Liberals were the party of the regions. I must admit I'm confused by that. Aren't the Nationals supposed to be the party of the regions for the coalition, and you're failing to win the cities at the moment?
Well, I just refer you to the number of rural Liberal colleagues I have in the Parliament, and there are very many. I'm one of them, in the seat of Farrer, which stretches from Albury, where I am now, all the way to the South Australian border. So, of course, we, the Liberals, can be the party of regional Australia and the party of the city, because in order for us to win, we have to win 50% of the vote plus one. And within that broad church, as John Howard called it, there are a range of views, and they're reflected all over Australia. They're not entirely different in the city and the country, but sometimes there are key differences between the city and the country. I'm a rural Liberal because I've always believed in bringing city and country together in one nation.
Sussan Ley, thanks so much for your time this morning.